Jordan Peterson is interviewed by Patrick Bet-David in this interview that's over an hour long with over millions and millions of views. And this was one of the most powerful, most viral moments in the whole interview. It's where he breaks down the difference between liberals and conservatives and how they're both right just at different times. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. I do Christian commentary on culture, and I'm excited to react to this video with you so we could apply some of that knowledge into different areas like companies, like business, like philosophy of politics and religion. So without further ado, let's get right into this video, and then the full video is in the description down below.
It's there. Liberals are higher in openness, that's trait creativity, and lower in conscientiousness, especially orderliness. And that seems to be because they believe, or their let's say their niche is an informational niche. They believe that the free flow of information is worth the risk. So that'd be the free flow of people across borders, the free flow of ideas across borders, the free flow of concepts across categories. They'd rather that the borders were permeable. Now, the conservatives are low in openness and high in conscientiousness, especially orderliness, and they take the opposite tack. They think, well, yeah, there's danger in too much openness. There's danger in borders that are too permeable. Things can change too fast. Entire societies can become destabilized, and everyone can end up not knowing which way is up. And the thing is that both of those attitudes are correct. It depends on the time. Because sometimes sometimes things are changing so fast that everybody's knocked off their feet and things are falling apart. And sometimes things are so rigid that there isn't any new water flowing, and everything's ground to a halt. You see that in corporations very often, where they get ossified, and there's no new ideas, and then they collapse. The average Fortune 500 company only lasts, I think now it's only 24 years. And the duration of their occupation of the top Fortune 500 space is getting shorter and shorter every year. You need liberals because now and then the right thing to do is to come up with something new. And you need conservatives because now and then the right thing to do is to do what everybody has always done. And the reason you need political dialogue is so that the liberals and the conservatives can continue to argue about which of those solutions is appropriate right now. And
that's powerful, Jordan.
Look at that guy. Yeah, PBD says it right. That's powerful. When you distinctify that liberals are this new and dynamic, pushing progressive force, and conservatives need to hold things down, are stable, are trusted, and they need the most important thing, that political dialogue, to really figure out what's good for whatever it is right now. And so let's take Bud Light, right? Let's take it in a business form. Bud Light, they wanted to push the envelope into something new and innovative. So they brought in transgender and Dylan Mullaney, whatever his name is, and to promote Bud Light. And we saw the reaction was abysmal, right? Sales plummeted. There were memes about no one's buying Bud Light. Like, these country stars are saying, like, I'm never going to buy Bud Light again. Sorry, I'm sick. But that's so funny to me. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so funny. It's just like, that's a liberal dynamic thing. That's like, hey, that's not the right thing to do. And then you've got like the Apple, right? Apple, who wanted to progress and push and do something new. And they, the right move was to be conservative for Bud Light, but the right move for Apple, they wanted to invent a phone with no buttons. Like, hey, what about the phone with no buttons or one button? And you're like, oh, that's amazing. And those were progressive, liberal ideas. It is within that ecosystem. And I think it boils down to two really guiding principles or factors, especially in a company. The first one is It's got to be monetarily justifiable. Is this act monetarily justifiable? Does it make sense? Does it make money? Does it make a profit? Okay, first, monetarily justifiable. Second, is it congruent with the company's identity, right? So like Bud Light, it's not congruent with the company's identity, and it's not monetarily justifiable. So we know that that was a bad progressive move. The right move would have been stay conservative, set out, they did the video, right, with the horse and it's galloping and it's America, with my boots and my mud and my fingernails, like that's how we can tell. I think it's those two things. It's monetarily justifiable and identity, congruent with your identity. However, what about in politics, right? In politics, there's so many things that come up, and is it right what are some good examples of liberal policies that work and conservative policies, or the conservative stance that work? Well, I think it's got to be justifiable for America, like welfare justifiable. And don't take welfare as in the political sense, but as in like it's good for it's common good justifiable. And two, it's identity, or really it's, if we take the first thing, right, it's congruent with the Constitution or congruent with our identity. It's the first two, like monetarily justifiable in a company. Does it make sense for the company? And identity congruent, and also in politics, is it congruent with our beliefs as Americans, and the beliefs are stated in the Constitution? And two, does it make sense for everyone? Is it good for everyone? So like let's take an example, like giving black people the right to vote, giving women the right to vote, freeing the slaves, right? These are all progressive, at least I think, at least the right to vote, I think those, and I'm no historian, but I think these were progressive ideas, liberal ideas. I'm like, okay, these seem to be good ideas. You know what I mean? Like it's congruent with the Constitution, and it seems like it's good for everyone, that everyone is seen as equal, has an equal vote. That makes sense. However, there could be other things that might not be good, like other policies that might not be good, like, for instance, changing all the genders, right? Changing all the genders. And so is that something that's progressive idea, but is that really like part of our identity, as people like to just change up all these definitions? And this is not the video to debate that. I'm just saying, like, I feel like this is a good filter to isolate that in. Now, of course, we come to religion. Okay, and coming from a Protestant worldview, which is Christian Protestant worldview, I believe that in my niche, in my circles, if we come up with something new, it's got to be biblically justifiable and biblically congruent, right? It's got to be like congruent with all the beliefs of Scripture, and it's got to be justified by Scripture, in the Bible verses. So, for instance, I know a lot of Protestant denominations don't like to use electric drums and guitars or electric guitars and drums rather, because it's the devil's in it, But is that in the Bible? Is there a Bible verse anywhere that says that's terrible, or is it congruent with? I think it is. I think different inventions of instruments are invented all the time, and those can be used. No, there's nothing said against that. However, what if you made transformers pastors? Well, I think that's biblically incongruent and biblically unjustifiable. You see what I'm saying? So, I think when the ultimate ethic or value that we extract from that Jordan Peterson video is that, hey, new and dynamic needs to talk to old and trusted in open dialogue and discourse, political discourse. That's when we got to figure out, because sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. The problem is when that thing is severed and one person or the other uses force and coercion and punishment as a bludgeon to silence the other side, not have the discussion, and now one side just rules all the time. And I think that's terrible too. And I think that's what we're seeing now today, is that the discourse has stopped and both sides are trying for power grabs. And maybe that's like it in your own, microcosm, right? Is that in your own family? Does that happen with your kids or between your spouse? Does that happen in the workplace where people don't want to talk? They just want to go to the boss and try to use the boss and pull the boss's name and card and try to bludgeon the other person, saying, I have that authority, I have that right and power. Yeah, it could work on a big scale as a company and a country and a religion, or it could even work on a small scale like your family and mine and or small workplaces. Anyway, thanks for listening to me. My name is Aaron. I do Christian commentary on culture. Check out this other video on Jordan Peterson and Vivek Ramaswamy. It went viral and I want you to check it out. Thanks.